So I've been working on my swing a whole lot lately with Ed and playing a lot of golf, which has been great. I'm experiencing a lot of pulls to the left and sometimes some club path issues where I'm cutting across. So I just had a great lesson with Ed, and we worked on a lot of these issues with some really cool comparisons using Trackman to compare my swing to some of the pros out there, and it was awesome. Made some really big improvements in just a short matter of time.
Yeah, just wait till you see the whole video, because when he's in comparison mode, especially at the transition on the downswing, I think we picked up on some pretty neat things, and you'll see how much of a difference that made with your club path and right away. So
instantaneously fixed some of my errors where I was really going far left, and several shots were basically down the middle with little fades, little draws. But
right, and then I also showed him by drawing a triangle on your backswing and matching it on the forward swing. I think they'll find that very interesting.
Yeah, that was a big light bulb moment for me. Some kind of different things with the finish, which impacts the rest of your swing. So you got those thick grips. Like Bryson.
That's the only thing Bryson and I have in common.
Not the swing speed.
And he's shooting YouTube videos with Paige.
He is, yeah. Hey, she might do some videos with us. So we're comparing our my swing to a professional.
Justin Rose, in fact.
Justin Rose, okay.
One of the prettiest swings, actually.
He's got a great swing.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
So I use him a lot in compare mode with a lot of players. All right, I'm just looking at a few things here.
Yeah.
So one of the comments I made with a video that you'd taken on your phone there was that I thought your shaft wasn't enough over your shoulder, but from my camera angle, that's actually better than what it looked like on your video.
Okay,
so
could have been a video.
It could have been a bad camera angle on that that was showing me that, because I actually think you're okay there. Okay. And you can see that, frankly, you're pretty similar positions there, really. Okay.
Yeah.
And do you see how you can see your club face? I'll bring the cursor up there. You can see your club face and your left arm. If I draw a line on your club face there,
that's pretty square to each other, right?
Square as can be.
Yeah.
So
and also on Justin's
so
same deal. That's what we're looking at, is the angle of the wrist being matching with the club face.
That's correct. And so that's really the first checkpoint for a player to look at, is the top of the backswing. And for me, I think it's probably, other than distance away from the ball, probably this relationship with the club face and your lead arm is probably the most important fundamental in golf.
Really?
Yes, those two things.
Yeah.
Butch Harmon's dad, Claude, and Butch's other brothers that all teach, Dick Harmon and them, pretty much their teaching's pretty similar, and it's from their dad, Claude, who thought how important it was to have a square club face like this at the top of the backswing. So all those Harmon brothers, from a philosophy point of view, try to get their players in the exact same position you are now.
Okay.
So if we can maintain that position on the downswing,
so we're everything up to the top is looking pretty good. That's when it falls apart.
It does. I don't know if that's I don't know if it's falling apart but that's where you're having issues, though. I know. Yeah. But and so what I think happens from here, and you can see you're still in your posture, your spine angle's still the same at the top of your backswing. Yeah. So is Justin Rose. If I draw a line straight down from the butt of the club, and I've done that with Justin Rose.
Okay, so we're at the top of our swing, drawing a line from the butt vertically down. That's what you're seeing right there. Okay.
Straight down. Okay. Now, ideally, that's what our hand path will do on the downswing at the initial downswing. And you'll see as you come down, I'm on the wrong thing.
So mine's basically tracing the path towards the ball instead of going down.
That's correct. And Justin Rose, on the other hand,
much more vertically down.
So you can see how close he stays to that vertical line with these hands, and you can see how much away towards the ball you are.
Yep.
And you can see that his shaft is pretty close to parallel to his original shaft angle. So is yours, but his shaft's a lot closer. Does that make sense?
Closer, can you explain that?
Yeah, where here's the yellow line, there's just a few inches here between
Oh,
these
closer
hands.
to the line.
Yes,
Okay.
and then you're higher than
So as I'm coming down, I'm vertically higher compared to his is more already back to the plane line.
Now, and also in this position, do you see that your spine angle's starting to change already? Do you see that line doesn't match your shaft angle anymore?
I'm starting to extend out of it.
Are.
Yep.
And
he's pretty much perfect.
He's pretty much perfect. Yep. And one of the things you mentioned as we come down here, so now you can see that the difference is his club head's actually underneath that original plane line at this position, and then you're above it. Mm. And you can tell your spine angle is nowhere near the same as your original spine angle.
I'm almost up and down with kind of a curved top of my back.
And so what I think happens, hand me that driver.
Yep.
One of the things that you noticed on your video, and I'm too blurry here on this camera to show you, but that on Patrick's, he'll give you a screenshot of this, I think, off of his video. You can do that, right?
Yep.
When I'm up here at the top and then this goes this way, well, then my face angle's always going to be open at this downswing here.
Can you do that one more time?
So, well, sure. So as I go this way, and the club, I'm going this way and then up like this, then that face is always going to be, I'm exaggerating, but it's going to be open from here, and then I have to flip
to get it closed. Otherwise, you're going to hit everything right. Yep.
That's right. Yeah. And so that's one of the things we're trying to figure out is his backswing. He's perfect back here with his club face and his spine angle. But see, I think he's still good with his spine angle, but it ends up opening when this spine angle goes like this. Well, then the face goes like that too, and now I'm going to be open. So I don't think you're necessarily manipulating it open with your hands. I think the early extension is causing
me
to be open. Yeah. I do.
And then I probably have to make a move with my arms.
Sure.
Otherwise, I hit everything right.
You're going to slice it, right?
Yeah.
And it's going to make you swing left as well, trying to keep it from going right as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's like everything that my body and brain is doing is trying to prevent those big slices and everything to the right. So it's trying to get it left because of a fault early in the swing.
Correct. On the way down.
Yep.
And so, the early extension, in my day, we really paid attention to maintaining our spine angle and to maintaining our knee flex.
Yeah.
And now with people using swing catalysts and force plates and there are a number of really good players that do early extend and literally jump off the ground.
Yeah.
And it's not discouraged as much anymore. But my recommendation for you is to try to figure out how to not early extend so much. And then, I'm still concerned with your injury there in your side. If trying to not early extend may aggravate it. So that might be why you're early extending, is taking the pressure off that side.
Could be.
I think we have to consider that a little bit.
Yeah.
And you'll see as you come down here then at impact, you can see how tall you are there with your spine and how we've moved, and look at the difference at these past impact just a little bit. So you were faster on the backswing. You were beating him to the top, but he's
much
beating
faster
you on the follow. Do you see that?
Yeah, that's interesting.
And that it is. And so, you know, but you get the shaft in a pretty good position at impact where it's pretty close to your original line. But, you know, you mentioned earlier off camera that, you know, look at his hips are already turned and mine aren't.
Yeah.
And that's true, but you can't move two directions at once. We've talked about that before. Yeah. So when I'm going this way, I can't rotate that way. So that's why your hips are slower than his, is because this move this way for a split second keeps you from getting in this position and opening those hips up correctly.
Absolutely.
Now the best thing I've found to practice that for you guys at home that have early extension is you can take your posture and get your butt up against the wall, okay? And then as you swing back, you just need to feel that this right cheek stays on the wall. And then on this way through, you need to feel like this left cheek stays on the wall. And if you just did that at home while you're watching the news or something every night for 5 or 10 minutes, in a month or so, it really ought to improve that without thinking about it too much. The other thing, go ahead and set up there for me. Hand me that blue noodle over there too, if you would. And so go ahead and set up there.
Okay.
If you have a buddy, who were the guys at the show, the kid and his dad that had the training aid with
we'll link that one. There's a really cool, is that Kavoo or something?
We'll
link it.
Like
it's really, it's a cool device.
So he had a thing, and so you could set up his noodle, and you could feel that you're maintaining contact with that. So just go real slow motion, go all the way up to the top and stop, and then good. And then as you come through, then your left, and then you're going to there you go, and that left hip's going to maintain there.
Yeah.
And you can feel that you're staying in contact with this noodle, you know, all the way through. That feels different, right?
It does, yeah. It's more like gotta keep that back more.
Yeah. Understand?
Yeah, I do.
And so that'd be a pretty good.
My legs work more. Like you can feel your
your legs you can
actually.
Only move. You can only move two directions or one direction at a time. So, so when you're going this way, your legs can't do anything.
One of my I hurt my side 2 years ago and re-injured it last year. And one of my theories on why I did that, I was working on swing speed, and I think because I don't activate my legs enough, I'm trying to get speed from this, and it's just this muscle I hit a point where I just wasn't able to do it anymore, and it strained or whatever happened. But I've always thought maybe part of it is that in the gym I'm strong with my legs, but I don't think I use it in my golf swing.
You don't,
so
because you're going like this.
Yeah, it's like I'm taking all out of it. Yeah,
you are. Does that make sense? Yeah,
it does. Yeah.
And so that's a pretty good way to practice it.
Okay.
And like I said, with that kid's training aid, where he's got that set up, you can set up a noodle there.
I'm going to get one of those, that's a good one.
So that'd be a pretty good drill to use with him.
Yeah, so let me ask you a follow-up question about this. So one of the things we were just looking at on the screen is about how the butt of the club and the hand path need to work more down as opposed to I'm kind of coming this way. Is that?
You are.
So I need to be more like this?
Yes.
And that's the classic Justin Rose thing.
And so the same thing, go to the top and stop.
Oh, here, what?
No, I got to stand here, so I'll be in the way. That's all right. So go ahead and the top of the stop. So if I hold this here, so you've got to come down on. There you go. You've got to feel like it goes
feel like this.
Yeah. And you might bottom out behind the ball at first till you get used to it. Because that's going to be a flatter angle than you've ever been before. But I do think it'll help you, and I have a feeling you'll keep that in. Hang on just a second. I'm going to move my bag so he doesn't snap the head off my driver.
Better.
For those of you watching, wondering how many takes we always take on our channel, we're always on the first take.
We're pretty good. That's mostly your credit. You're the one who's great at the first take here.
I don't know about that. But
yeah, we try to keep it real for you guys. So I want this. So my old feel is that
You would come towards me, yeah.
like that, and what my new feel I'm trying to work on is
Yep. Not for that long of a time, though. It's only for
only
about
for
6 inches.
okay.
And then it can go to the ball.
Okay, so I'm over.
You
that's
are.
that's too much, and
It
that's
is,
what
but that might be how you
and that's-
have to do it in a, but you'll know if you do it too
you're gonna
much, you're gonna
bottom.
stick the club in the ground.
Yeah. You can probably even hear that on camera. I'm hitting that, but that's like that.
Yep.
How'd that look?
I couldn't tell, but I'm still on compare
Okay.
mode, so it didn't get it.
Let's try another one.
And I think this is hard to do with a driver,
I was gonna say this probably might be easier with a 8-iron or something.
8 or 9 iron,
Yeah.
something like that, yeah. But go ahead and do it with driver and see what happens.
The result was decent.
That was the last
Oh,
one.
was it? Okay.
We didn't record.
Okay. Okay, rehearse this.
Club path was better.
Yeah.
Still faded a little, but
Well, and that's more face was open, which
I think that's better.
that motion looked a little better, didn't
I
it?
agree. I think that's better. Take a look here. And again, I'll give you credit. This takeaway is so much better than where you were 2 years ago. It's unbelievable.
Thank you. That's one of the things I've worked hard on.
And I do think that if you just continue to take this club back correctly like you're doing, I truly believe with practice that the rest of this
Will
is going to
come-
come
yeah,
natural to
sure.
you without having to think about it so much. That would be my hope. But see, that was better.
Yeah.
I can slow it down enough. See, that's much better.
That's big. Yeah.
I know. Good job. Look where that's at now.
Yeah, much
Remember
better.
how I showed you on that other one that there was just a few inches between this shaft and that original line, and
now
you
it's
were
much closer.
You know, you would have in that other video, you would have been up here,
Yeah.
and now you're in here.
Well, the thing
And
that
that's a big difference.
I
And that's
find-
how come the club path is +1 instead of -4.
yeah.
Understand?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's great.
And you can see your swing direction and your club path both.
Those I'd take that all day.
I know.
If I could repeat
know.
less than
I mean,
than
you
2.
still had an open face there a little bit.
And that's probably
And
what
you still had a little steep attack angle, but I mean, but that for one swing, I mean,
So I found that interesting. So we're using this hack motion
Uh-huh.
thing. They've been giving us one to evaluate here. It's pretty cool, and I'm curious to see
your graph.
as the graph, how I end up looking because I think probably one of the things with this is I'm going to have to start working on getting that club face a little bit more closed still early, but with this path it'll probably be easier to get that going.
Yeah, I agree. And this hack motion is really interesting.
It is, yeah.
So we'll be talking about that in another video
Yeah.
in some more detail. But honestly, maintaining the correct wrist angles as you swing is pretty crucial to being a great ball striker.
It is, absolutely.
And we as an industry, we've not been able to measure that very accurately. But boy, with this hack motion sensor, I mean, you get some great data, and when you compare it, they have a comparison mode with tour players, and they have different models of a swing depending on whether you're Dustin Johnson with a wrist angle like this at the top of the backswing, or somebody that's like this.
Well, that's what I find. So, I mean, I video myself constantly, and I'm always using different apps and stuff to compare to pros. And that's one of my favorite things on Trackman is you can do, just like we're showing here, you can literally put yourself next to it. But I think one of the things that's really neat is when I start to video myself, if I go back then and watch it, it's like it's feedback, but it's delayed by a minute, 2 minutes, by the time you're actually able to get it up. Whereas, if wearable things, I think this is a big part of the future.
Right, it has a sound on it that'll tell you whether you're within the ranges, and you can set the ranges depending on how good a player you are.
Well, and it's like, and it can give you that feedback instantaneously, but with audio cues versus having to go watch it on a video and see, oh, did I do it or not, which is still helpful, but I really think that this type of technology is going to be big in the future.
Yeah,
so
I do
it's
too. And
pretty
Patrick's always asking me about training aids and stuff. Have I seen this? Have I seen that? And I'm not a fan of the braces and that. And Greg Norman had the Greg Norman Secret that came out probably in the 1980s sometime, and it was pretty fascinating. It fit on your right wrist, and it got this right wrist on an angle. And you could see all the good players had their right wrist like this at impact. We used to call it covering the ball. You don't ever hear that anymore, but the best players tried to feel like their right hand, they couldn't see the ball because their right hand's covering it like that.
Yeah.
And if you do that with your right hand, then your left hand's like this.
Yep. They're
so
mirrored.
What's interesting about all these drills and people are trying to do with their lead wrist, I mean, our both hands are on the club, so what one wrist does, the other hand does the opposite.
Yes, yeah.
And so it kind of depends on you as a player. Can you think more about your left? And does that help you? But man, most people are right-handed players are right-hand dominant. They can't think about their left at all.
Yeah.
And so maybe you're better off thinking about your trail wrist. And so this hack motion, you can do it on either wrist.
Yeah.
And I like that too. And it gives immediate feedback. And as you practice swing, even as long as you hit the ground and make a noise, especially on a mat, it does pretty good. You can look and see what your wrists look like.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing with you when we were doing this earlier is that they also show you a graph of the ideal motion for a tour player.
Yeah.
And yours was pretty extreme through there.
Absolutely.
It wasn't as smooth. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I'll record a couple. I'll do a couple shots and we can show them and just see.
It might be better already.
It might be better, yeah. But I'll show them some of the old ones too. You can take a look at it.
But so I'm a fan of it. If he'll give you a link to them, and they've got 3 different levels of monetary commitment.
Yeah, depending on. We haven't tried the putting thing yet. The putting thing seems neat.
They do have a putting app which would do the same thing.
I know we're going to do a bunch of videos on putting now that we can get outside again soon. So.
And the cool thing about this hack motion, not only does it measure your wrist angle this way, it measures your supination and pronation, and then your ulnar deviation this way too. So it gives you 3 different measurements of what your arms and hands are doing.
What was really interesting is we were comparing my swing with an iron to some of the pro models and both of my my kind of cupping, bowing motion was a lot more extreme. Theirs was like a smooth wave, whereas mine was yanking back and forth. And then also the ulnar up and down. My rotation wasn't
Your rotation was great.
Yeah, that
actually.
wasn't. Yeah, it was maybe a little late, but it was.
It was a little late, but it was smooth and it followed the graph.
Yeah, so it's just cool. I love seeing data like that. So and of course you can compare it to different. Like if your swings, if you're real athletic and you can get more of like a Dustin Johnson feel, then you could compare more to that model. Whereas I don't have that kind of flexibility to do that, so I have a different swing.
And it kind of verified. We had a Zoom call this morning with them and talked about a few things and kind of validated a lot what I try to teach, is they can quantify based on the degrees of your wrist angle, whether you have a weak grip, a neutral grip, or a stronger grip. Yeah. And then whatever your wrist angle is at address, they measure that angle, and if you're on that same angle at the top of the backswing, that's a good thing. And that, that's how I've taught this for years, is you hold onto the club and hinge up, and whatever angle you have here is where you should be at the top. And so the other interesting thing that he mentioned, he talked about Dustin Johnson, and it works, but you have to be a great athlete to get your wrist in this position, because Dustin Johnson has no rotation with his arms as he swings through. Yeah. And therefore, the only way he can square the club face up is by body rotation on the way through. And most recreational players and most guys that's as old as I am just don't have the core strength and the speed in their hip rotation to be able to swing like that. So all you guys out there that are trying to get these bowed wrists at the top, if you don't have tremendous hip speed and body rotation, it's not going to work for you.
Well, it makes sense especially if you're a guy who probably hits a lot of slices into the right. If you're not able to,
right,
if you're trying to do that,
go.
But you can't get
right.
clear.
And everybody says, well, that's going to close the face. Well, in effect, it does, but if I'm not rotated through, I'm never going to get the face back to square and screw and through to the target.
You just demonstrated what we talked about in the slicing video from months ago, where you said most people think when they're slicing they're like this, but really they're like this. And you just exactly showed if you can't do that, then you're gonna push everything right.
Yep,
so.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And so I thought, I was impressed with him on our video call
it's neat.
today, just because he recognized the fact that there's different ways to swing the club, and most recreational players can't follow their Model B on their app.
Absolutely, yeah.
You can't do it. You just physically can't do it.
Yeah, you got to find the swing that matches your physical abilities.
That's correct.
So, yeah.
And in their case, that's a Type A model.
Yeah.
That they have on there, and that shows the graph and what the parameters of that are.
Yeah.
So, and for me, that's how I've always worked on it with players, is to whatever grip they have at address to hinge the club up square, and they can feel that same angle back there. I would have them get in a mirror and check this club face and check these angles where they could see it. But man, with this hack motion thing, you don't need any of that.
Yeah.
It's going to tell you exactly what angles that you're on. You'll learn what this position, what it should feel like on the way back, and you'll learn what this position should feel like here, and then you'll learn what impact should feel like.
Absolutely.
I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
All right.
So with this 8-iron, I'm still wanting that same feel where it's dropping 6 inches.
Absolutely.
And then, every club.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. It's a different feel in my body doing that.
I like that one. That was the most solid one I've heard you hit all day.
That felt great.
That was great. Look how much better your club pass. You remember
gosh.
earlier today, everything was negative.
I was swinging across -8 this morning.
It was, yeah. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Slow, so go back through that one slow. I just want to see if it's.
That is so much better. I can't believe you picked it up that quick, to be honest with you. That's awesome. Can you tell the difference?
Yeah, that's
you can
great.
see it, right?
I can, yeah.
You can see, look how good your club face still is there. And again, but that's, you can even tell there, even though it's a little blurry, you can tell that club face is a lot better position, I think, coming down.
caught it a tad thin, but it was still very straight.
And honestly, see, that's the only thing I'd like to experiment some more. I still think, looking at your left arm and looking at the club face, that's still pretty dang good, even though it's telling you you're too extended.
Yeah.
So that might be more of a grip issue at address than
It could
the
be,
backswing.
yeah.
I'm just saying that's one of the interesting things about this technology. It makes you ask a lot of questions. You can see that butt of the club's going straight down now. That's so much better.
Good.
And I do think you're turned more.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
I feel like I'm turning much better, much more naturally.
Yeah. And not near as much, early extension there either. And so,
What?
see, I think as you go this way, I think you maintain your posture. I think you go this way, so you've
Well,
got
like we've talked about, I wonder if the early extension I fight is a consequence of my brain knowing that it needs to make, because something else is going to be wrong, right? So it's
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
it's a reaction and not, it's almost
It
like
is.
chicken and egg reverse thing.
It is.
Right?
And that's a secret. A good golf instructor, in my opinion, is to understand
Cause and effect.
yes,
Yeah.
and what to fix and how that'll change other aspects
Absolutely.
of a player's swing. So.
That motion, I feel like I can turn. I feel almost for a couple of years now, it's like I just feel like I get stuck. It's like I couldn't.
I told
move
you earlier,
through.
you can't move two directions at once.
Yeah,
so.
I feel all of a sudden I have this freedom of motion that I didn't have before making that little tweak.
Awesome. Do it again. Good, and that was better there too.
Yeah, it was.
You're all both in the yellow. Awesome. I can tell the difference without the line.
Oh
there,
yeah,
so.
me too. It's nice.
And even though that faded a little bit, I mean, you were pulling everything last week. Right?
I'm ecstatic to see the ball go to the right again. I've been playing a lot, and every iron shot I hit, I almost have to aim 20 yards to the right, knowing I'm going to pull draw it left, and it's like and then of course that's when you hit it straight, and it's so frustrating. But I'm overjoyed to see one actually fade to the right. That actually is really a nice sight for me.
That one you would have hit just a little left, but not bad. Not bad though.
Not bad, yeah. So I'm curious on that one. Did I come down more like my old swing?
Just watch. I don't think so. No, that's not near like your old swing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not near like your old swing.
So probably the other thing for me to work on with this is still on the swing direction, getting a little bit more
Yes,
to the right.
to the right.
Just a little bit.
The other thing, as I'm here doing this, I'm a big fan of showing this to people. So you can see his right arm and everything is outstanding position there at the back, or it's straight up and down. Mm-hmm. And you can see that triangle that I draw between your arms. So not only do we want the butt of the club to start down that one leg of the triangle, and you can see it does very nicely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's much big improvement. Then as you finish the swing, I would like your arms to be in the same triangle on the way through
That's interesting. Okay.
that you were on the way back.
So because we're seeing it to the left, that means I'm swinging more to the left, right?
Yes, sir.
Interesting. Okay.
So I'll show you that in a compare mode.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So, so I haven't looked at him, but I bet he's pretty close.
Yeah, this will be interesting.
I know if I showed Justin Thomas doing this. This is one of the kids I usually show. So you can see his triangle. You'll see that his handle goes down that leg and he's a little higher than that. Let me show.
So that would maybe mean that he's swinging to the right slightly, right?
Yes,
More of
that's
an
right.
in-to-out path.
More in to
Okay.
out, yeah, than what you were.
Yeah.
And the other thing that you have to take into consideration is sometimes the camera angles aren't the best on these pro comparisons.
Yeah, we've talked about that one.
And then, and it's just one swing.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't always know.
Yeah, if you guys haven't seen it, we made a whole video about how much of a difference the camera positioning makes when you're analyzing swings like this. So it's a good one to watch if you haven't seen it.
You can see how high you want to know why a little bitty guy
Yeah, he really gets those hands
can
high.
hit it so far. I mean, gosh, if you look at him and Scotty Scheffler these days and all that, how high they get their hands.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Hogan, in his book, he wanted the hands to be at ear level. And you can see how much higher Justin Rose is
Yeah.
than ear level. It's pretty, and your hands, frankly, are quite high. As I've gotten older, my hands are barely ear level anymore, and I don't hit it anywhere. But you'll see his triangle.
Oh man, yeah, he's like right on, huh?
Yeah, especially if I can slow it down enough to stop it here.
Perfect.
Isn't that amazing?
That
Yeah.
is.
And
That's
that'd
really
be a
cool.
good thing to try to match up. So
Yeah.
anybody at home that's
Well,
you got a
that's-
V1
I was
app or
gonna say, you
something like
don't-
that where you can draw lines.
Yeah, even if you don't
Check
have
that out.
Trackman, as long as you have
Right.
even you could take it into any app that you can draw stuff on the screen, and that's an easy check.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm a fan of that.
Yeah.
So, and let's watch him on the way down. I didn't even pay attention
Yeah.
to his handle. So here he is at the top, and he actually isn't his elbows, in my opinion, is not as in a good position as yours is. He's a little got a flying elbow there.
Little
But
Fred
you-
Couples.
But you'll see it goes straight down. Do you see that?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's cool.
Isn't that cool?
So, okay, now I want to try this, see if I can get the triangle,
All right.
get that set up. So, because that's a really good check, because then that means your swing path is going to be either perfect or I guess basically zero, right? Swing if your swing direction and your club path are zero, then you
Go
end
ahead and
up.
set up. You're on live camera now.
All right.
Okay? Hang on so go to the top
Yeah.
of your backswing and stop. No, farther than that. You're,
Okay, more of a full turn.
Yeah, and you're higher than that. So there, even higher. Hold it. There we go. Come on, you're back there. Look where you're at. Look on video.
Gotta get my shoulder flexibility there.
All right. Well, I'm gonna. Good. So now follow through for me. Good. Now look in the. Can you look in the video now?
Yeah, so I
Raise
need
your
to be
hand.
here.
You do.
Oh wow, so I need to finish way more up here.
Yes. Then around.
That's interesting. Okay, because my finish is more like this.
I know.
So I need to be more
You do.
like that.
Exactly like that. That was perfect. For the people
know
at
what?
home, they'll see. You can't
The-
look up and look at the same time, but you'll be able to see that.
You know what triggered that? The feeling was actually people talk about standing tall through impact. That's basically I was just trying to feel that standing tall
Okay.
finish. So
I don't care what you feel like.
Yeah.
I just want your arms in that position.
Like-
So, good. There we go. Good. Good. Now you got to get there on the backswing too.
yeah, let me try that.
But the backswing, and your normal swing, you get there.
How's that look?
Good. Go ahead and hit one like that.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead and hit one and try to follow through like that. You're actually pretty close there,
Was that?
I think. So you'll see, here you go back. I still got the triangle drawn there. Not bad. You can see
Yeah.
where it is in relation. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, I know. Pretty good. Didn't you think?
Yeah, that's cool. That's another good feel for me, is to finish higher. You know, it's interesting too, when I watch my old swings, a lot of times I get this like kind of chopped off thing.
I
I'm
agree.
always like, and I always
Nice.
like, how do people get it behind their head? And I think I'm just realizing now, it's because if you're here, you
can't go any higher.
unless you're like Gumby, you just can't turn like that. Whereas if you're higher, it's much easier to finish like that. So that's interesting. I never thought about that.
Yep, pretty cool.
That's really cool.
That was good. You just chunked it.
Yeah, I was gonna say hit a little behind it, but the actually club path and everything was
I know,
pretty
much
good on
better.
that, yeah.
The only thing it wasn't was your attack angle. See that?
yeah, just
Yeah.
hit a little behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's all right.
probably because I was thinking so much about doing that. But
I agree. But
Yeah,
but it's still much better.
that is. I still need. I'm gonna work a lot on that motion right there, just to ingrain that. That's gonna be my big homework, I think, for this week.
Good. Just chunk that
Yeah.
one too. Yeah.
It's interesting that I started chunking a little bit as I think about that.
Well, I told you that if
Yeah.
if you do that too long on the way down, you're going to stick.
Yeah,
the
that's
club
why I
in the
wonder.
ground.
Yeah, so
But you can still see your club pass better there,
yeah,
and you can see your arms are better going through that triangle.
yeah. Huh. I'm gonna try to just do it without thinking about the finish now.
Sounded pretty good there.
Yeah, I caught it just a hair thin, but
Pretty good, huh?
yeah,
Yeah, great job.
awesome. Well, I
Yep,
think I
great
got
job.
my homework figured out for this week. I'm gonna be working on
Yep,
that motion. So.
yep, I
Cool.
agree. That's what I'd do.
Awesome.
Yep, good work.